Jeff Sneider here on Meet the Movie Press. Today we're going to be talking about National Treasure 3, apparently, X-Men and Alice in Wonderland sequels, Power Rangers, all kinds of good stuff. Maybe Jamie Bell as the new Bond. Who knows? Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Hey, Jeff.
Good morning, Simon.
You're back.
That's right.
I missed you.
Rising like a phoenix from the ashes.
a big beardy phoenix.
I am Jeff Sneider, host of Meet the Movie Press, and with me, as always, is my boy,
What's up?
Simon Thompson.
Bitches. Yeah, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How was your week off last week?
Yeah, man. It's been a wild
Been a week.
roller coaster of a month, but yeah, ultimately agreed to part ways with the rap, and I'm gonna miss a lot of my colleagues over there. Had a good run.
Hey,
Looking for a new challenge, you know?
if something doesn't end, something else can't begin, my friend.
I'm actually trying to join the Suicide Squad.
Okay. I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome. Good.
But yeah, no, it's been a good week. I've focused on me, you know.
Okay.
Like
Been working out, I can tell.
Clearly. I hit the treadmill 3 or 4 days running.
Nice.
I lifted some weights.
Good.
Did some laps in the pool.
Awesome.
So yeah, and I've been watching old movies, which we're going to talk about, and keeping an eye on things as always. I still find myself checking all the normal websites and that kind of stuff.
You say normal. You say normal, but
right? Are they? Yeah,
they're not really normal, are they?
But yeah, after 10 years at the trades, you know, I think it may be time to try something else.
Okay.
I don't know. I started out as a film critic. I'm still open to writing about movies, but yeah, the breaking news stuff, it's very competitive, very tough line of work, and you know, I didn't like the person that I was necessarily becoming doing that stuff.
Okay.
You know, constantly hustling. So yeah, you know, sometimes as a reporter, because since this is Meet the Movie Press, we can talk about it a little bit. It does feel like you have 1,000 bosses, because it's not just like the people at work, you know, editors and that kind of stuff, but it's like the publicists and the managers and the agents, and people just keep dumping these releases and news. It's like, you know, and every little thing now that these companies do, they want a separate story for, so they could pick up a movie one day, and the next week there's the release date story. It's just like kind of endless, and I guess, you know, feeling a little burnt out. So looking forward to recharging the batteries.
Nice.
Going away this summer to Anguilla. Do you have any trips coming up?
I'm going home after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
It's
no.
Awesome.
Well, you travel a lot for work, though. So you do get around.
Yeah, I'm. You make me sound like a whore, but yes, I do. I get around.
You get to visit exotic locales.
I do.
Like Atlanta.
Yes, yes. Come to exotic Atlanta. Yes, I do. But no, I don't have any trips planned. But you're going away. What am I going to do?
Yeah,
Last week
we'll
you
find
weren't
someone.
here.
Dicky filled in. He was
Dickie
able.
did a great job.
He's wonderful,
Yeah,
Josh Dickey.
did an
Thank you to
awesome
him. So yeah, let's you know, start talking about the movies. Enough
Okay.
about me.
Okay.
So where do we want to start? We should start with this Bond thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you take it away, because this is your character here.
So this is something that I read. Got to give props to /film for this one. Jamie Bell apparently has had conversations with Barbara Broccoli.
Was it /film or was it the Daily Mail?
Well, if it's in the Daily Mail, it's clearly bollocks. Yeah, so I read it on /film. Basically, apparently Jamie Bell has had a conversation with Barbara Broccoli about possibly stepping in as James Bond. Now, we discussed this briefly before the show started. Mm-hmm. We both agree that this is probably the worst idea out there for casting.
I'm not a big fan of it. I mean,
I don't.
I like Jamie Bell. He's a terrific actor.
Exactly. Bond? No, he's not. I don't see him as Bond.
I don't see him being like the. But he was with Evan Rachel Wood for a while, so I mean, I guess in real life he's a bit of a stud in my book, because she's great.
Yeah,
but like I don't see him being like this ladies' man.
Evan Rachel Wood kind of really
makes you Bond, but
makes you Bond.
I just mean like I don't really look at Jamie Bell and see like this kind of suave sex symbol, which is kind of how I think of Bond.
I also don't see him as, you know, they tend to cast people who are on the cusp of something big. And then, like Daniel Craig, he's done a lot of great movies,
Right.
really good character roles. And then he was like, oh, okay, interesting. I don't
Worked
see...
with Jamie Bell before, too, right?
In what?
Defiance?
Nobody
Yeah.
saw that.
I saw that.
Tintin. I mean, he's great in Tintin. I mean, you don't see him in Tintin, but, you know. I mean, I don't dislike Jamie Bell, but do I see him as James Bond? No.
Yeah, I
don't
struggle to
see him
picture that one as well.
I don't think the audience would buy it. It just would feel a little bit like it's kind of Muppet Babies meets Bourne.
Right, like I'm not a big fan. I get like doing the young Han Solo as like Han Solo as a boy or a young man or whatever. Bond's a man, you know. I don't want to. Not that Jamie Bell's a boy because he's obviously not, but
it's just he
you
can't.
know, I want
fill
like
the
rugged. I
Speedos.
want Can he can't even like can he grow a beard? Like
I don't know.
I don't know.
Jamie Bell, if you're watching, tell us if you can grow a beard.
Listen, I like Jamie Bell a lot. I
Yeah.
think he's really talented.
He can do a lot of things.
But yeah, James Bond, I don't see it.
No,
Interesting that they want to go young like that, though.
yeah. But
I mean, maybe Zac Efron will be Bond.
yeah, I mean, shit. I would rather have Zac Efron as Bond. I mean, physically, he'd be all right. But I don't see that happening either.
I want to know what kind of
Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey
is that all weight room Zac Efron, or is that some supplement? Because he's looking like The Rock these days.
Wasn't
He's
there?
jacked.
Don't know. He is. If you saw, did you see Neighbours 2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's jacked.
Jacked. He's seriously like looking good.
Anyways,
But yeah.
So-
So Jamie Bell, Bond. I'm not.
okay. Well, for enough
I'm not buying
leaving the Jamie Bell aside, do you want to see Daniel Craig back for another Bond? Do you want to see him down the
No,
tubs?
I think
You're
for
done.
me-
You've had your fill.
Well, I got the feeling from Spectre that he's just kind of done with it. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a nice end, and the ending
Yeah.
of the film was kind of final.
So it's 4 movies he's done, right?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I think it's time to move on. So yeah, I mean, I if he came back, I wouldn't be like, I'm not going to watch it. I'm sick of Daniel Craig.
Right.
But if he didn't come back, I'm like, I'm absolutely okay with that. You know.
Interesting. And I know.
I mean, would you like to see him back?
I'm indifferent. Like, I agree. The last Bond was not very good. I know Daniel Craig seems a little sick of playing the character. At least that's what he said in the press. I don't know if that's a negotiating tactic or whatnot. But yeah, he's had a good run.
Yeah. He's done a great job.
The rights are still up in the air, and I think someone wrote an update this week that mentioned Sony and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has always been the presumed new home, I guess, because of Kevin Tsujihara's relationship with the Broccolis or Michael Wilson. But to me, Sony has elevated this franchise. It's taken the Bond franchise to a new level this decade.
Yeah.
And I don't see why you would mess that up. I would keep it there if I was MGM.
Yeah, but it's a profitable franchise.
Sure.
And
so it's going to make money anywhere? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the Broccolis have got their hands all over this. So wherever they take it, it's always going to be that Bond.
But
they're not going to let, just because it's in a different studio, it's not like you're going to get the equivalent of a Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Right. No,
You're not gonna get a
I
different
get that.
vision of
Right.
Bond.
It's still their Bond.
Yeah.
I just think Sony's actually made a good partner, and I don't know,
Sony does need it.
They do need it. Would they be willing to overpay for it? Because it's controlled by MGM.
Yeah.
And so what Sony did, if I'm recalling correctly, they cut MGM in on its own slate. Like, MGM's a partner on Jump Street and that kind of stuff. I think Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's how the Bond deal worked.
And I think Sony have a good relationship with, the producers and etc. So
why mess with a good thing?
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's kind of like it's almost like a pissing contest. If you're a studio, what studio wouldn't want Bond? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it going to Warner. I think if it
Warner
went
Brothers
to
is the biggest
Disney,
studio.
I think that would be a little bit greedy on Disney's part, and I can't see that happening. But I
That
think
would be amazing.
But Sony have done really.
If Bond went to Disney, I mean, Bond's not really an R-rated character. Like, it kind of fits.
I don't know if I would like to see a Disney-fied James Bond though.
I'm not saying
And Universal couldn't take it because they've got Bourne. So
team them up. Anyways, we'll move on. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Speaking of team ups,
yeah.
The Power Rangers.
Yeah.
We already have them teaming up for a movie.
Oh shit!
And
yes.
now the head of Lionsgate, in a call probably with investors to get them excited and say we have franchises coming, said that we have up to seven more Power Rangers movies coming. You're probably, I mean, this is terrible, but you want to keep that to yourself.
Yeah, it's like Lionsgate. You're drunk. Go home.
I think it's just like everyone gets ahead of themselves. I get that you're supposed to like fire up the investors and show them the franchises that you, and it could very well launch a franchise.
Yeah, but pull 3 out of the bag. Don't pull 7.
Yeah.
3's fine. It's like we're going to do a trilogy.
7, it's
lovely. It's like it's neither here nor there. It's not. It's not 10. It's not 5.
Right. There's
it's
not
certainly
even
not a trilogy.
there's not even 7 Terminator movies.
Thank fuck. Thank God for that.
You know what movie? You know what franchises get 7 movies like other than Fast and Furious? Like
Transformers,
Children of the Corn.
Oh yes.
Friday the 13th. That's the kind of shit that gets 7.
Yeah.
7 movies in a franchise.
Yeah,
so
but
just
no, I mean, I'm
roll.
just kind of like 7 Power Rangers movies. I don't know where.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just not.
that.
It's not even something like, okay, fine. It's something that I could see a trilogy. That would work. I could see them doing a story arc. That's kind of
Say 5, 7.
Yeah, 5, 7 is kind of.
You're making headlines for the wrong reasons
yeah,
with 7.
Yeah, I'm not.
Biting off more than you
But
can
I don't
chew.
know if. I mean, I'm quite excited to see what they're going to do with Power Rangers, because so far it's looking pretty good on paper who they've got involved. But I'm kind of like, I'm just not seeing it as a Fast and Furious. I'm not seeing it as a generation after generation.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the stars. It's Elizabeth Banks is the biggest star in the.
People give enough of a
No,
fuck.
I think this
That's
was
the
like a
problem.
kitschy sort of thing back in the '90s. It was like not cool to like Power Rangers. Like kids got made fun of for that.
I know.
I think so.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the pink one was hot. She was fit.
All right. Let's see.
That's
We
an
got
insight into my teenage years.
he's
What can I
sharing
say?
with us, and I'm not even listening. I'm
I
just
know.
on to the next news item.
That's fine. So what's next?
Thank you for opening up
It's
to
my
me,
pleasure.
Simon.
Thank you.
Blumhouse, big move this week.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing the Halloween reboot with John Carpenter himself.
Producing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people online this week were kind of like, why don't you just let John Carpenter direct? Now,
It's not a matter of letting him do. I think if he wanted to, he probably
Carpenter,
could.
no. I am a big John Carpenter fan. But I also think he's made some films that really
Stinkers?
aren't. Yeah. There's a fair few. I mean, do you remember The Ward from a couple of years ago? Which
That'd
was
be a no.
Okay. It was kind of a psychological horror movie set in a psychiatric hospital. It was not. It wasn't effective. It was kind of interesting visually, but it wasn't scary at all. And it wasn't even kind of like not scary as in The Thing, not scary, but it's kind of like it didn't have the atmospherics at all to make it an intense experience.
Okay.
And I just was like, I don't think he's perhaps got.
Think he's peaked? Like his best days have passed him by?
Yeah, I just don't think he's got the directing chops anymore to perhaps really do what it could do.
Okay, well,
he's done some amazing movies. He's one of my favorite directors, but
he's not retired from directing, right?
no.
He's still like trying to drum up financing for some projects he's been
Yeah, but
developing
he's
for a
kind of,
while.
for me, he's kind of like Wes Craven, who's an amazing director, has done some fantastic films, and obviously, sadly, died, no longer with us. But you kind of felt that with some of the later projects that he was directing, he just didn't have it. I mean,
it's always
directed some
hard.
absolute stinkers.
Yes, of course, but
Real stinkers.
obviously it's hard to live up to some of those early classics.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that he's involved.
Yeah, that's a good sign. It's a really good sign.
I think it's super cool for Blumhouse. Like, you know,
And it's a good franchise. I mean,
that's such a big entry point into the horror genre for so many of us, Halloween. And it is sort of like terrible what has happened to Michael Myers and that franchise. So I would like to see it resurrected and done in a cool, original way.
yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorite horror icons.
Did you see Adam Wingard's been tweeting about
No.
Halloween? I think Adam Wingard's been tweeting about it.
Okay.
And then there was another story that Mike Flanagan was going to do it because he's worked with Blumhouse a lot.
Okay.
Between Flanagan and Wingard, do you have a preferred director?
Probably Wingard
Yeah, me too.
out of the two. I mean, I think they could both do a really good job with it, and I would be really interested to see what their visions are. But I think for me, probably Wingard would just get that.
Yeah, no, I would love to see him.
I mean, we can get some opinions
take
on it. We're
that
going to
on.
be taking calls again today, so we can.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
can get some-
we'll do about
some input
10
on
more
that.
minutes of news, and then we'll start taking some calls.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson signing up for this movie called Skyscraper that Legendary just won in a bidding war.
Yeah.
It's described as a Chinese Die Hard meets Towering Inferno, which is what I suspect it will really be.
Die Hard Inferno.
Die Hard Inferno.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, I like the idea of that. I mean, there are lots of ideas out there at the moment in Hollywood where, I mean, I've got friends that are working on scripts for various films that are kind of like, oh, it's like Die Hard on a blot. It's Die Hard this, it's Die Hard that. But if it was set in a skyscraper, it is really close to Die Hard. But I think if they kind of play with the idea and they do bring something original, and Dwayne Johnson, you know, as much as we do mock him sometimes.
No, wait. We love Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
I was just upset that he got sucked into this marketing
Don't have to worry about
thing.
that now.
I don't. You're
Don't
right.
have to worry about that. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, I would totally. I mean, I'm kind of like I'm almost at the Grove, handing in my $15 to get a theatre ticket already because I'm on board. With
I mean,
this.
he is the premier action star. That's how you set your movie apart.
He's the Arnie of now.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, Statham. I like Statham movies, but he's like a little one note, you know?
Yeah.
He kind of plays the same character. Dwayne Johnson is just a blast. He's just entertaining. And so I think he's sort of the perfect fit for a kind of Die Hard movie set in China. Obviously, it will probably end up being a Chinese, U.S. co-production.
Yeah.
It'll get a big release in China.
And that's happening increasingly now.
Yeah, of course.
Increasingly.
And, you know, he'll have a Chinese love interest or someone to save or something like that.
Here's an idea. If they're going to do effectively a Chinese Die Hard, why not make it an actual good Die Hard movie, which they haven't done since the third one, and perhaps have Bruce Willis in it as well and make it a Die Hard movie?
Oh, no, don't shove Bruce Willis into this.
Come on, he's not doing anything. A guy's got to pay his rent. Come on, Bruce. I know you're a miserable
Bruce
shit.
Willis gotta eat.
Gotta pay the bills.
I feel like Skyscraper, though, and I could be wrong about this.
Yeah.
It could be a different script. I feel like the script's been around a while. Like, I've heard of a Skyscraper. Maybe there's multiple Skyscraper projects,
Yeah.
though. So it didn't sound...
But this happens a lot in Hollywood. There are scripts that are there just sitting on a shelf. And
Right.
They did this with, I mean, it wasn't a great film, but it was The Lost Boys 2. That was originally going to be werewolves and vampires in a surf movie. And they were like, well, let's just have vampires and let's make it Lost
Boom.
Boys 2. And it wasn't a great movie, but there are scripts out there where they go, let's shape this into something in this franchise and let's do it. I watched the third one too. I'm not
wait, there's a third
There's a
one? I
third
didn't
one.
even know that.
No, come on. Corey Feldman's got to eat, man.
Everyone's got to eat. Everyone's fucking hungry.
But yeah, I mean, they're not great films. But I've watched them because that's
Dwayne Johnson, the busiest man in Hollywood, also starring in a Robert Ludlum universe.
yeah. We touched on this last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
They are looking at it as potentially because obviously Ludlum is behind the Bourne books as well. Mm-hmm. So potentially there is the possibility of some kind of coexisting universe. I mean, it has crossover potential. I don't think
that
it's
would
a good
see.
idea.
That would be. I mean, I kind of like the idea though of Dwayne Johnson and Matt Damon. That would be kind of cool.
Maybe Dwayne Johnson could play Matt Damon because he's doing pretty much everything
But
else.
I mean, listen, I haven't read these Robert Ludlum books, but I'm imagining. I wasn't imagining Bourne so much as like a Jack Reacher. Like imagine Dwayne Johnson's own Jack Reacher franchise.
I like Jack Reacher. I mean, I'm
So
a big
do
Tom
I.
Cruise fan anyway. I thought that movie got, a lot of unnecessary shit. But I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Dwayne Johnson, my hat's off to you. We are looking forward to Ballers, right? Did you watch Ballers on HBO?
No,
Oh man.
but I will Google Ballers.
Not, again, that's I guess like your Lost Boys too. Not a great show,
Yeah.
but entertaining. An entertaining half hour each week on HBO.
I
so.
do find the campaign for his latest movie with Kevin Hart very amusing. A big Johnson and a small heart.
Oh yeah, no.
Made
Well,
me
that's a
laugh.
great tagline. They've been relying on that one a little much, but
Yeah. But I don't know how that's going to translate outside of the US though, because in the UK, for instance, Johnson you don't refer to your penis as a Johnson. So you can't go a big penis and a small heart because that wouldn't make any sense. Although that would be funny as advertising. And they're going like, what? Eh? But yeah, so I'll be interested to see what they do with that outside of the US, but in America, made me lol. So,
Okay.
I like it.
Should we take some calls?
Yeah, let's do it. And then we'll look at what people are saying in the chat as well.
Oh yeah, why don't you look in the chat now? I
Okay.
just tweeted out the number. So check my Twitter feed for that number, 424-253-0504.
Lovely.
What are they saying?
Well, okay, Zeno Hour says The Wards, which we were talking about earlier as Carpenter movies. Amber Heard can't act and is savage. Lol. Yeah, it's a terrible film. Lonely Seahorse is saying, I kind of want Wingard's I Saw the Devil remake, which I Saw the Devil is an amazing movie.
Love it.
Absolutely amazing. Whenever I buy sort of friends' Christmas presents, I always send them that as a DVD because they won't have it. Nobody has it. But it's a great movie, so I absolutely agree. Bad Future, all in caps, Wingard. So I think we've got another endorsement from that. Nightmare on Elm Street has the best for a reboot. You see, Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot that they did, I didn't love it, but I didn't have a massive problem with it.
You didn't have a massive problem with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
No, I mean, it was
terrible.
It was not a good movie, but I still quite enjoyed it. I liked the vision. I would have been really interested to see what they would have done with that. I mean, I'd be absolutely happy to say it's not a good movie, but I would have been interested to see, as a jumping off point, where they could have taken it, because it could have been very different to the Elm Street series that we know, which is flawed but massively entertaining.
Popcorn Talk, did we tweet out the number from your account?
Yes.
Okay, great.
The number has been on the screen for quite some time.
Oh, okay. Forgive me. I can't see things here.
Quite all right.
All right. As we wait for a call, what else is going on in that chat room?
Gregory Castillo says we got a Die Hard movie remake with John Cena called 12 Rounds. Good point.
I think I saw 12 Rounds. It actually wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's a film that got massively overlooked, and I think in the UK it went kind of straight to home entertainment. But it was a solid action movie.
It only got 2 or 3 weeks in the theaters, and then it came out on home release.
We have a huge 12 Rounds fan.
No. I'm
John Cena in the booth?
I'm a wrestling fan,
Okay,
so I
fine.
know this crap. They did just release a sequel to it, though, that changed the whole idea of it. It's a cop with just 12 rounds in his gun trying to save the day.
Okay.
Which is kind of fun.
So
but
each bullet has to be very economical, right?
Yep. We do have a caller on the line. You're on with Meet the Movie Press. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mike from New York calling again. How you guys doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I just want to thank you guys again. You guys do a great show.
Thank you.
I love listening to it every week. You guys are probably some of the smarter people around. Enjoy listening. One I got a hot take for you.
Okay.
Give it to us.
All right. Everybody keeps saying, like, oh, we're waiting for the superhero bubble to burst, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Right? The bubble's already burst. That's the reality. It burst after Avengers Age of Ultron only made 191, I would say, last year. And everybody thinks, like, the sky all falls at once, everything goes downhill at once. It doesn't. This is it. We're going to see the downward slope. You can argue that we're already seeing the downward slope.
I mean, I agree. I thought the Civil War numbers were actually a little suspiciously low.
Yeah, me too. That was the same kind of thing. Like, I think this is all we're seeing it. People are getting tired. That's why I asked you guys the other week about ticket sales, because I want to know, like, what are the numbers? How many people are actually going to see this? And quite honestly, there's a point where I'm wondering now, you know, the reality, everyone keeps saying quote unquote geeks have taken over the world, yada yada yada. I've never believed that, and in part because I think if you really think about it, let's say the average ticket cost $10 and made 181 million. So it's like about 18 million people went to see it, and that's assuming that they're all unique, as in like individuals, as opposed to somebody went to go see it 2 or 3 times in the weekend.
This is which movie?
Huh?
Which movie is at 181 million?
Oh, I was thinking for Captain America: Civil War.
Oh, okay.
The opening weekend.
Well,
opening week.
But is it a case of the bubble bursting, or is it a case of the fact that the market is just overcrowded? Because if there's too much, if you're basically, sort of pissing in your own pool, and you're kind of trying to spread the money out over a lot of movies, whether you're sort of, you've got Warner coming in, you've got Disney coming in, you've got other studios sort of putting their own stuff in there as well. Is it not the fact that the bubble hasn't burst? It's just the fact that the bubble is kind of spread a little bit wider.
I see what you mean. I'm not sure. I don't know, because my concern, my sort of feeling is that overall, people enjoyed these movies. People really enjoyed the build up to the first Avengers movie. There was something in the air. There was a funness to it. There's a newness to it. And now that, I mean, maybe it is in part because of the overcrowding, but I think it's also just the fact that, as I've always kind of been worried, these universes are getting, just like in the comics, they're getting bloated. They're getting too much continuity.
I mean,
to a degree where if your average audience member misses one movie, they're not going to want, they might not want to go back, or new people might not want to get on, because some people are just like, I'm not going to watch 13 movies, so I can go watch one.
But also, is it kind of the audience's, I say fault, I mean, fault's not the right word, but the fact that people do still, in large numbers, we can't deny that, turn out for these movies. And while you keep turning out for these films, these action movies, these superhero movies, the studio's going to go, well, it's making, if we're putting X amount into it and we're making X times 10, we're just going to keep making them. So is it kind of, it's almost like a self-perpetuating situation?
I see. I see what you mean. I've always thought that, okay, so this kind of goes back to my whole, geeks have not taken over the world theory.
Right.
In that, I think the reality is that a lot of times, I try to, I'm a teacher. I teach college, and a lot of times I talk to my students, and I am amazed and shocked by how many of them don't see these movies, don't really know about these movies, and I consider them more like average moviegoers. So there's a certain amount where I kind of wonder, was there ever really a general audience for these movies, or has it always been just the quote-unquote geek crowd who goes out and sees these things and sees them multiple times, and it's not necessarily that it's permeating the general public in the same way?
Okay, that's a really good idea,
that
actually.
we all assume.
Well, thank you for your call. That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, no,
it's well made.
I know that when I go home to Boston, my high school friends do, like, average 32-year-old guys, they do not know about these movies. They don't care about them. It's hard for my brothers to watch them. Like,
yeah.
We're in a very weird bubble here in LA where, everything is sort of magnified and given this hyper importance. But I don't know. You can't argue with the numbers. People are turning out. I just think that movies like Deadpool that are different will continue to stand out and do well. I think it's the kind of going back to the same characters over and over that will end up being dangerous.
Yeah.
And eventually one of those movies will bomb big time. Okay. But yeah, thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So we're getting some feedback in chat on that, actually. Superhero movies will settle between 600 to 800 unless studios work together to space these movies out over the year. That's from Gregory in the chat, and I think that's really fair, actually.
I mean, that's true. I don't know what the rules are about that and collusion and that kind of stuff. But they're cannibalizing each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
only the strongest will survive.
There's a little bit of etiquette. Obviously, Avengers, I'd say Avengers, Captain America, gave Batman breathing room a month, which gave that a chance to make as much money. And it's kind of like there's nothing superhero-wise coming out for a little while. So they are kind of spacing them out. But I just think, again, and this is endemic with
there's
many other franchises.
There's nothing this summer, right?
Not really.
It's not until Suicide Squad
which is August?
Early August,
yeah. So, they are giving, there is that kind of after you etiquette going on. And we need to see that a bit more, I think, with some of the Star Wars movies, because it's kind of like every 12 months, it's, we don't want it to become predictable, which is the big problem.
Do we have any calls? No? All right, let's see. Fast and Furious coming back to theaters? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, it's the 15th anniversary of the first film in the franchise.
15th anniversary. Couldn't wait that 5 years.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I do enjoy Fast and Furious as a franchise. I enjoyed the first film when it came out, went to see it in theaters.
The first film is still the best film, isn't it?
Well,
the best as a film, as a movie, overall.
As far as films in the franchise that are actually to do with cars, yes, it is the best film in the franchise. I think Fast and Furious is more of just an umbrella term, because the later movies have a lot of cars in them, but it's very much moved away from that core value of it's about races, which admittedly you can only do so much with, and it kind of tailed off with Tokyo Drift.
But listen, Fast 5, Fast 6, I don't even know how many goddamn movies we're up to. Fast 7.
Yeah.
They were all entertaining. They all have crazy stunts.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good time at the movies, but like, I don't think that those are films that will endure. I think the original Fast and Furious is by far the best movie in the franchise. You're saying otherwise.
No, I think it's the best one in the franchise that's actually about cars, which is fundamentally what Fast and Furious is about. I mean, I do enjoy the later films, but they're great action movies. They're not car movies. And I
forget car movie, action movie. It's just what's a better movie? What would you rather watch 2 years from now?
Yeah, probably the Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
You are right.
Okay.
I mean that is, but it's
I had to think. I was like, is that the fourth one?
many Fasty Merry Furious. Yeah, but I mean, I just don't think it needs a reissue. There are films, for instance, recently you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Top Gun getting limited releases to celebrate their anniversaries.
Those are like fun.
Yeah, I mean, to me, those are classic movies.
Because we didn't get a chance to see those in the theater.
I did.
You saw Ferris Bueller in the theater?
I snuck into a theater in the UK.
You're not that much older than me.
No, I know. I was like 12. And I went to see it. I snuck in. And it was fucking awesome. It was the first... In the UK, we had a 15 rated system. It's UPG, now 12, 15, 18. And I snuck in there to watch a 15 movie. And that was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the first 15 rated movie I ever saw.
British rating system.
Yes.
Classification system.
Classifications.
I'll tell you though, Fast and Furious, I have really no desire to go out to a theater and pay to see that again. Something I could watch it at home.
Yeah.
But when you leave one of those movies, you rip out of that parking lot.
Of course you do.
Like... There should be cops in movie theater parking lots whenever a Fast and Furious movie opens because that shit gets crazy.
Nobody pays to exit the parking lot. Everybody goes through that barrier. They're like, "Fuck you, barrier."
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah. Well, that went well. So yeah, Fast and Furious coming back 15. I'm kind of like, okay, I'll watch it, but I'm not really psyched about that. Disney making a live action Little Mermaid. Apparently,
they're developing it.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they produced. They've got in touch with some major producers in Hollywood. They haven't named names, but I'm a big fan of The Little Mermaid. I really love it as an animated movie, and it did have a huge effect. What is that? Not okay?
No, I love The Little Mermaid too. I'm just imagining you putting on like a red wig and
only on the weekends,
aerialing out.
Only on the weekends. But yeah, so I would not be adverse to that, but I'm starting to tire, even though I'm very impressed by the Beauty and the Beast trailer, I'm starting to tire of the Disney thing of making their animated movies into live action movies.
I mean, it's easy. It also makes sense. This one...
It does make sense.
I don't know if actually this one does make sense because Universal and Working Title are making their own with Chloe Moretz, but then again, that was supposed to start in March, and now it's May, and there's still no additional casting. I wonder if that hit a snag. I don't know.
I mean, it's very much at the early stages. Obviously, they have approached producers, but I'm just kind of like, I don't... And this is part of the thing of cannibalizing. I love what Disney's doing right now. They're putting out some really strong product. Not all of it. We'll get to Alice later. But I don't want them to dominate the market.
I mean...
And I'm...
Why? Who cares? Like, I mean...
Well, I just think, and this is an issue sort of endemic in the industry, if you're one studio that's putting out movie after movie after movie after movie, there's only so many screens you can show these movies on. And I think it's kind of a dick move. If you're one studio, and it would apply to Universal, it would apply to Warner, if you're a studio that's constantly putting out these big movies that are kind of depriving the screens for other studios to put their stuff out, because you can only get so many showings in a day, only so many screenings in a multiplex.
That's crazy, my friend. Come
really?
on. Yeah. So they're pumping out movies that people want to see.
But
what's the harm in that? They should let someone else have a turn with these screens.
I think so. I think it just makes for a much broader industry. I just don't.
No, I mean, if a
for
studio
indie
could, they'd have a big movie opening every month, so they have something in the top 5 of the box office year round.
Yeah, I just think it might make the movie landscape a little bit boring.
But yeah, I mean, again, Universal's Little Mermaid was going to be directed by Sofia Coppola originally. So that must mean there's a certain kind of script there. It's probably not a real Disney-fied script. So I imagine that Disney's version would be pretty different from the Chloe Moretz version if they end up making it.
So who would you like, if this does happen, who would you like to see cast in some of the roles? We've obviously talked about Chloe being cast in another version. Who would you see as Ursula?
Obviously, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'd be
That's why I should
pretty
be a
awesome.
studio executive. We have a call. I see a
cool.
call.
Cool. Hello.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Edgar, and I'm from Boston.
Hey. What's up, big guy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jeff. Jeff, big fan of your work. When are we going to get you on Movie Fights?
Hopefully something's in the works. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Simon, I was coming around on you. I'm a big fan of yours, too, as well.
Come around.
Oh, well, yes. Thank you, I guess. Simon, you're not such an arsehole after all, so I'm okay with that. I'll take that. Fuck it. It's a kind of compliment.
I watched last week, and I probably wouldn't have a couple weeks ago, but I've really come around. I like your opinions, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Simon's a good man. I vouch for him. So what's up?
I don't even know. I just wanted. I didn't think I'd get through, so this is kind of a weird situation.
That is flattering. Let me ask you: have you seen anything good lately? Since I ask everybody this.
Well, I'm going to see The Nice Guys.
Okay.
I've seen Civil War. I've pretty much seen The Jungle Book. Jungle Book really surprised me.
Yeah.
Really big fan of that. I didn't think I'd actually like that.
Okay.
So, The Nice Guys is a really good. It's a great.
Yeah, we
movie.
haven't really talked about it because I saw it the week. Yeah.
You fucked off to a wedding last week.
So yeah, let's talk about The Nice Guys and
Disappointing opening. It did 11 million.
I mean, that's in line with predictions.
It was.
Do you think that's more of a fact that they had Neighbors 2 coming out and it's such a weird
I agree that
time
they
to release that
definitely
movie?
definitely seem to cannibalize each other. I like this word cannibalize.
Thank you.
Clearly, but yeah, they're sort of aimed at the same audience. Tough one there.
But it's
Neighbors 2 didn't do well either.
No,
I saw Neighbors 2.
What did
I
you
actually
think?
felt like I enjoyed it more than the first one.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it was very much the same thing, but I felt like, as far as the sequels go, it was a comedy sequel, which usually aren't that good. This is actually pretty good.
I agree. It was definitely one of the better comedy sequels that I've seen.
Yeah.
I liked Neighbors 2. I definitely did not like it as much as the first film, but I loved the first film legitimately.
I guess it's a matter of whether you think it's a better movie or it's more entertaining.
Right. Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
Same thing could be said for Winter Soldier. I thought that was the better movie, but I think I found myself enjoying it more, enjoying Civil War more in terms of an overall entertainment.
Well, listen, enjoy The Nice Guys.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing when people say, what they enjoyed more and what they think is the better movie, and this comes up a lot. I'm getting
That's
this
true.
a lot from talking to audiences right now, and it's really interesting that the better movie is not the more enjoyable movie. It's kind of an odd dichotomy that we're seeing in the market, and this is endemic across superhero movies and other franchises as well. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting point.
Listen, have a good weekend. Enjoy The Nice
you.
Guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have another call?
Yes, we do. You are on with Meet the Movie Press.
Hello.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Jacob
Hey,
What's
Jacob.
up,
from
Jacob?
Minnesota.
All right, cool. What's up?
Well, I was just curious if you guys had seen the new Deepwater Horizon trailer.
I actually
yesterday,
didn't.
I believe is when it came out.
I actually did not. I loved the first Deepwater Horizon trailer, and I was sold on the movie then and there, and so I didn't actually click on the second one this week. Did you, Simon?
It's a movie that doesn't really excite me.
I'm excited.
I was kind of the first trailer for me. It couldn't decide for me personally whether it was a kind of more of an action movie or more of a family drama, and I'm really on the fence with that film because I'm just
I think it could be a surprise Oscar contender.
really
I'm gonna throw myself
that does
out there.
surprise me. I'm
Yep.
not.
I thought the same thing about Lone Survivor and Peter Berg. Like, this is an incredible true story of real heroes. I think it could definitely strike a chord. I think it's actually going to play really well in September.
See, for me, it hasn't put anything out there at the moment where I'm going like, shit, that's where I need to put my money. But I think that it's kind of personally playing to its favor because it hasn't put it all out there.
I like the
am
character
intrigued.
posters, dude. You have
It's a good cast.
Wahlberg, Kurt Russell and Malkovich,
Yeah.
and then people like Gina Rodriguez in her first kind of big studio movie, and Dylan O'Brien. I'm looking forward to that one, man.
My interest is piqued, but I'm.
So I haven't seen the trailer. Did you see it? Did you like it? Is it better than the first? What's up?
Well, I mean, for me, in my opinion, I thought it was a really good trailer. When I was watching that trailer, I really kind of got flashbacks of, like, it feels kind of like from the same guy who directed Lone Survivor. Like, it feels, like, very similar to Lone Survivor, and I really enjoyed Lone Survivor, so I hope it's just as good, really.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it will be.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks for calling, man. Have a good weekend.
A couple of things happening in the
You
chat.
too.
Thank you, appreciate it. So let's have a look. Film nerd Jamie says The Nice Guys was a bad weekend, and frankly, Gosling and Crowe don't open movies, which is a fair argument.
I absolutely no. I think that he's right.
But it's a shame because they work really well together.
They do, and I would actually be interested in seeing a sequel. So what did you think of The Nice Guys? I thought it was okay.
I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised. There were things about it, and we covered this last week, but there were things about it that didn't work for me, like the scene with the bee in the dream sequence in the car did not work.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
should have brought Matt Bomer in way earlier. He was a great villain.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere.
Deliciously camp as an assassin. I loved that. I thought some of the female supporting roles were kind of not well written enough.
Mm-hmm.
They were very superfluous. I loved Ryan Gosling's daughter.
Yeah,
I thought
Angourie Rice
she was
is
great.
Terrific.
And I kind of wanted more from Kim Basinger. To have
Yeah.
her back on screen with Russell
You
Crowe
don't
for the
feel
first
that
time since
ending.
Ellie, she just kind of felt like she was dialing it in.
Yeah, like sleepwalking.
Yeah, like she just turned up on set for a couple of days and was like, blah, 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 read
Yeah.
my things, here you go.
Agreed. I could have seen someone go a little bit bigger with that performance. That would have
it was
been better.
kind of wasted. But as a film, I loved it. I thought the script was awesome.
See, that I thought the plot was weak, man. That's the problem with the movie. Is
Yeah?
that it's like I want to spend time with these characters, but the story that they're in was weak.
For me, yes, I think it was moderately weak, but for me, it kind of felt like a film that, as you say, you'd welcome a sequel. It did feel like it was there to set up 2 or 3 movies, and I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen with these box office receipts,
which is a shame.
Did we just lose a call? We had a call and lost it. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. So some other things. Gregory Castillo says, thought Simon was going to suck, but ended up being swell.
Are you reading your own fucking?
Turns out
compliments?
everybody thought I was
We have a
going to
call.
be
We have a call.
cool.
Welcome to Meet the Movie Press. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Will from Memphis.
What's up, Will?
Hey, well, first I wanted to thank Jeff for, all his work on the show and at the Wrap.
Thank you.
You will be missed by many.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I guess I do have a question. I was wondering if you've heard anything about Josh Boone's New Mutants movie and I guess specifically, I remember Drew at HitFix had reported some casting attachments, and then all the websites that aggregate that kind of news ran with that, and then the very next day, I think it was Nerdist did a debunking story saying we reached out to Fox and they denied it, and so I guess specifically, I was wondering about couldn't you get a studio denial for just about any deal that might be early in the works, and how do you feel about running a debunking story, especially if you're maybe not a
Listen, I've been in that.
Does casting?
I've totally been in that situation. I think this was years ago, and Steve Zaitchik at the LA Times reported that Brett Ratner was going to direct Hercules. And they came to, I think his team came to me at their app, and they were like, he's absolutely not directing Hercules. And then 2 years later, he directs Hercules.
Yeah.
So you know, it depends where the debunk is coming from, and because I never liked to do debunking stories. It's more about like if an editor was sort of like, we got to get on the page with this, and I was like, well, what? It's not true. Then they're like, then say it's not true. You know.
Oh, right.
But I mean, a lot of projects go out to numerous directors. I mean, I can't
That's
talk
true.
about it, but Turtles, the new Turtles movie, one of the first directors that was approached for that film was Paul King, who directed Paddington. Paul's a friend of mine.
Mighty Boosh.
Yeah,
Great director.
Great director. I mean, so these projects, you literally get studios who will sit in front of you. They'll get directors coming in, and they'll say, "What do you think? What do you think? Okay, fine, you go away." Next person comes in. Would you like to do this? So these things do go out to a lot of people, and a lot of the time, sometimes the projects don't happen, or it doesn't go to that director. Directors come onto and leave projects.
It's just a matter of though, like, you know, when those things get reported. So, you know, the trades are pretty good about that kind of stuff and waiting to see until someone's actually going to get the job. Then you have, you know, the blogs who, God bless them, I read them and love them, but like this week we even saw it with Halloween, where I don't know if it was Bloody Disgusting or
it was one of the
and they were like Mike Flanagan to direct Halloween, and then it was like, wait a second, is Adam Wingard directing Halloween? It's like, well, which is it? You know.
So they do talk to lots of people about these things. So, I mean, there's a lot of people also debunk because they want to basically control. And we had this again a couple of weeks ago with the casting of Han Solo. You know, they either stay silent or they debunk just because they want to basically go, ta-da, here's the new baby.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, a lot of those things are like favors where like the publicist or someone is trying to actively deny a story but doesn't want to go on the record themselves.
And sometimes
you know?
that, you know, it can be at a really intricate part of the negotiation process,
Right.
and they're just literally putting pen to paper.
Right.
And, you know, an announcement or you know, or an announcement coming out unofficially can kind of fuck that up.
Sure.
So
yeah, no, and that was an
Right.
interesting question, though. Thanks,
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. Thanks
Yeah,
for
well,
listening.
thanks. Illuminating response, as always.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's us. So illuminated.
You're very illuminating.
There are a few more news stories, and then I just want to talk about some movies, too.
Sure.
National Treasure 3, you said?
Yeah. Apparently, Nick Cage was saying this week, I think this is off the back of him pushing one of his movies at Cannes recently.
Yeah.
Apparently, there is a script. There's been a script for National Treasure for a long time.
They've been working on the script for 12 years.
I mean, it's so long since National Treasure came out. I think I had hair when that movie came out.
That's a great joke. You get to
thank you.
You get to keep that in your back pocket for.
I know. But yeah, so I just don't. I think audiences. I mean, I love the first two National Treasure movies, but Nick Cage was saying
Did you really?
they got the script. Yeah, I mean they're fun. I mean they're bullshit, but they're fun. They did good box office as well. But Nick Cage was saying we want to fact check. I went, well, the first two kind of are. They're not documentaries. Their factual accuracy is kind of debatable. So I'm like, you're not making.
I would.
The news, Nick Cage.
I wouldn't make that movie until I saw how Inferno did with Tom Hanks. Because I don't
not
know
excited about
I
that.
don't know if that'll do well, and I just don't know if Nick Cage is a studio lead anymore.
So that's kind of out there. And Wesley Snipes this week said that he's up for Blade 4.
You bet he's up for Blade 4.
Wesley Snipes is up for going to fucking Ralph's to do my groceries. He's got nothing to do.
Are you
know?
actually hiring? Because I am unemployed. Like I will buy your groceries.
Jeff Sneider is Blade.
Yeah, Wesley. You know, I actually love the original Blade.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
And I love
good.
Wesley Snipes, but we don't need another. I enjoyed
I like the
Blade
character
Trinity.
actually.
Yeah, the TV show was not great.
There was a TV show.
Yeah, I think it ran for 2 seasons.
It was on Spike.
Yeah, it was on Spike.
No wonder I didn't see it.
Neither did
All
anybody
right,
else.
well, and then I'll tell you what movie I am excited about that is
Okay.
coming together. The untitled firefighter movie, formerly known as No Exit.
Yeah.
This week, I guess Taylor Kitsch and Jeff Bridges are joining. Josh Brolin and Miles Teller. Teller and Kitsch and Brolin and Bridges. That's a movie.
It is a movie, but I also like the idea of Taylor and Kitsch.
Oh, did
That would
I
be-
say that?
yeah.
Oh,
That would be
and
awesome.
I said Teller. Teller and Kitsch.
Oh, Teller and Kitsch.
Teller and Kitsch.
Yeah, I
And
would be
Bridges and Brolin.
very much on board for
I
that.
just want to know who's going to be the lone survivor here, because I think it's like about 20 firefighters who go into like the woods and one comes out alive.
I'm going with The Rock.
He's always the survivor.
It's like, hang on, there's a burning building. Fuck, The Rock's Rock's in it.
Collider also has a report that Rosa Salazar is going to star in Battle Angel Alita for Robert Rodriguez and producer James Cameron.
Okay, that
I'm
could
not
be exciting.
super familiar with her work, but yeah, she was in the Maze Runner movies, I believe. So there's already some Fox synergy there.
Yeah. Oh, someone asked on the show last week, we had a caller who was talking about MIB 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to speak to James Bobbin this week. I did an interview with him for IGN for Alice Through the Looking Glass, and I asked him about whether it's still early days on the project. So they've got a script, but I was like, "Is Will Smith coming back? Is Tommy Lee Jones coming back?" He's like, it's early days, and I'm like, "What about?" And I presented the idea that was given to us on the show last week. What about Key and Peele? And he didn't totally dismiss that.
Okay.
So I think, and I kind of sold the idea to him, and he was like, well, nothing's in stone. We're looking at lots of ideas. And
was this an idea of yours or something that you actually heard that you were vetting?
No, it's someone who called in on the show last week and was like, perhaps that would be a good way to take it forward. And I think it would work really, really well, because
it would.
If you've got Tatum and Hill, and then you've got Key and Peele, I think that would be a really good duo, and you could do a lot of stuff with that.
I agree. Here's the thing, though.
And Will Smith probably won't come back, if we're realistic.
No, I don't think he's coming back. I think Tommy Lee Jones said goodbye a while ago. But, well, shit, what was I going to say? I just, if I'm Key and Peele, I would be wary of being Key and Peele all the time. You know?
Yeah.
They've done a lot of stuff together, and obviously I want to see them work together again.
Yeah,
but they may need some time just going off down their own respective paths. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I think that would not if that hit the big screen and that happened, that would be a great movie. Yeah. Talking of great movies, a couple of big releases this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna end with movies. We're done with the news. We're just gonna talk about some movies now and then say goodbye. So X-Men and Alice Through the Looking Glass. Let's talk about Alice first, since I didn't see it. I hated the first film. There's not a chance you couldn't pay me money to see the sequel.
I got
Maybe
paid.
you could though. Maybe you could.
I got paid to see the sequel.
Okay.
I did not like the first film. It annoyed me. It made my piss curdle. It was that annoying. And I'm a big fan of Johnny Depp, but I just, the Hatter set my little, what hairs that I have, set them on end.
It is a garish, obnoxious, annoying movie. So how is the sequel? Is it better or worse?
It's better. For me, it's better. But that's like going, well, would you rather be punched in the balls or punched in the face?
Right.
This, for me, it had, and I think this is because of James Bobbin,
it's the balls for me, by the way.
Thank you.
Because balls of steel.
It has it's more of a Python feel to this, and I think a big benefit for it is Sacha Baron Cohen, who has worked with James previously. He's worked with Johnny Depp previously. He, as time, really adds a nice touch to the movie. There are lots of people. Helena Bonham Carter is great again. Anne Hathaway is very wasted. Alice is fine, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, what an afterthought. Has a character ever been a bigger afterthought in their own movie?
Yeah,
this is like, you think Alice in Wonderland, you think Johnny Depp. You think Helena Bonham Carter. You don't think Alice.
No. And I think as a character, she's drawn better in this film than she was in the first one. But it didn't put me off. It didn't annoy me. It's not going to win any more fans to the franchise. And I think Disney are very much looking at this as being a bit of a cash cow, and possibly looking at a third movie. What they're going to do, I don't know. But it wasn't as bad as the first film, and I actually did enjoy it and take a number of things away that were very entertaining. But is it a good movie? No, it looks brilliant.
Wait for DVD?
No, I would actually say go and see it in theatres, because I think the scape, you have to see it on a big screen with great sound. Otherwise, it's going to lose some of that magic. So visually, it's a great experience.
So we mark you down as recommending the Alice in Wonderland sequel. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would recommend to watch it in theatres.
Holy shit. All right.
It's not a 4-star movie.
Speaking of movies...
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you going to recommend that too?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
No,
that's a wait for DVD if there ever was one.
Well, yes, absolutely. I think that is very true. But compare it to Days of Future Past, which really did not do it for me. It left me cold. I found it quite
Days
boring.
Of Future Past too.
I enjoyed this more. It's massively flawed. I thought Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse is very...
a waste.
He reminded me...
I love he's my boy.
Did you see kind of a shit horror movie in the 90s, Wishmaster?
Yes, I did.
Yes. He reminded me of the Djinn in that.
Dude, I have a fucking autograph from Kane Hodder on a napkin. No, wait, no. Robert Englund. It's Robert Englund who played the Wishmaster, right?
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah,
actually.
it's Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay.
I believe. No.
But
Anyways, it says, "Be careful what you wish for" on a napkin in my childhood bedroom.
Careful what you
So I've
wish
definitely
for.
seen Wishmaster.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. I had to brag about that autograph.
Whenever he was talking, it just reminded me of the Djinn in Wishmaster.
It was...
I did not like him as a villain. I kind of enjoyed... I like Quicksilver. Quicksilver was great fun.
That was a good scene, yeah.
I kind of thought people like Jennifer Lawrence just kind of walked through the movie.
Oh, my God. Jennifer Lawrence in this movie.
I
don't know what's worse, this or the Mockingjay films. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just, as a film, it entertained me. But is it a good movie? It's not a good movie.
Jennifer Lawrence is like a non-entity in this movie. I don't know. I liked scenes. I liked the stuff in the woods with Magneto's family. I liked when Apocalypse shows up at his workplace.
Yeah. I thought some of the CGI was bad.
On the whole, what a
some
mess.
of the CGI was really bad, and some of the scenes where they were in a battlefield just did not. It didn't look finished.
Yeah,
to me.
not a great weekend for wide releases.
But it's done well internationally. It's done really well. You know, so audiences are flocking to see it. But
they're flocking. I'll tell you what I did see. So I have obviously had the week home.
You have.
On my couch watching a lot of movies. I caught up on some classics.
Cool.
Like Stanley Kubrick's The Killing.
Very nice.
And I also watched Killer's Kiss. And I watched a French movie called Serial Killer 1.
Okay.
You'll notice all those movies have kill in the title.
Yes. So what was in your mind this week?
But no, but the movie that I would recommend that just came out on iTunes is Cash Only.
Okay.
I guess it was at Fantasia Fest or I don't know if it was Fantasia Fest, Fantastic. There's so many festivals. But it's like this gritty crime movie set in Detroit, mostly with an Albanian characters, though they speak in English. It was pretty badass.
Okay.
I like those kind of foreign crime movies because they do them better overseas. So yeah, Cash Only. Check it out. It's a poster on, if you go to iTunes Movies page, you will not be able to miss the poster.
A couple of interesting things coming up on Netflix in the next couple of weeks, including
The Do-Over.
Yeah.
It's out today. I'm going to go home and watch it.
But there's a couple of good things coming up on Netflix.
A couple of good things.
Couple of good things. Spotlight is going to be on Netflix next month. So if you haven't seen Spotlight, you should absolutely add that to your watch
Bloodline's
list.
out today, too.
Yeah, I've heard
Bloodline
good things
season
about
2.
that.
I like Bloodline.
Yeah,
Check that
a lot
out.
of people are very excited about that. Just some final stuff in the chat room.
Yep.
Dylan is saying that he saw Days of Future Past 3 times in 2 weeks at the theatre. Oh, God, I'm sorry, Dylan.
Yeah.
Retroactive is saying, I liked Apocalypse, but the 4 Horsemen were very underused. Absolutely. And also people saying that they thought Apocalypse was good, but the final act really let it down, which I think is fair. That final coda did not work for me. It just was... It entertained, but I didn't leave feeling exhilarated. And I think, considering what's gone before it was lackluster. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Here's to a brighter future for Bryan Singer. I think
he needs to step back from X-Men.
Just go do other movies.
Something else.
He's doing 20,000 Leagues, which could be cool. All right, that'll probably do it for our show, right?
I think so.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to let you down. Didn't want to let our fans down.
Well, thank you.
So it's good to be reunited, and I will be here next week, and then I'm going on a little bit of a vacation with the family.
Nice.
So
Your family or just a family?
Just any family.
Cool.
Just
Okay,
take
fine.
me.
Good.
I am Jeff Sneider at the Inn Sneider. I am available for hire. Studios, production companies, agencies, management firms.
I am Showbiz Simon on Twitter
Grocery.
at Showbiz Simon. I am also available for hire. Weddings, bar mitzvahs.
I set him up for that one,
Thank
folks.
you.
And later today, I am going to be taping the Schmodown over at Collider Video
Nice work.
against Sam Levine from Freaks and Geeks. That'll be up in a month. Yeah. Hey, have a good weekend, guys. Enjoy the apocalypse and the long holiday weekend.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
Day off.
3-day weekend.
Nice work.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.